Who's ready to build a computer and go on a trip? Hey everyone, welcome back again. Today I get to go on a trip and I get to build a computer. Tomorrow morning I am leaving early and traveling down to see a good friend of mine who I've not seen in several years, and he lives in South Carolina. Of course, being from the New England states, it's going to be quite a little bit of a drive, and it's going to take about 13 hours or so to drive down, and we have a computer to build while we're there. Now, I helped John build his first computer in about 2021. It was, of course, long distance, and he asked me for some advice on what to use to build his first computer, and we built him a very good entry-level budget gaming computer, and it has worked very well for him. The system that we did build him was extremely budget, and for the most part running a Ryzen 5 2600 6-core 12-thread CPU, a very budget gigabyte motherboard, along with 16 gigs of DDR4 memory, running, I believe, at 3,000 megatransfers per second, but then also a budget, pretty normal 600 watt bronze power supply, maybe even 550 if I can remember correctly, and then also a very basic Cougar case, which does what it's supposed to, housed all the components, and for the most part worked pretty well. It was pretty much maybe about a year after he built it that he was looking to perhaps upgrade his graphics card. His RX 5500 XT was doing well, but he just wanted a little bit better edge in some titles that he was trying to play. So I was able to find him a great deal on a used GTX 1080, and that was an EVGA card. Moment of silence for EVGA graphics cards. For NVIDIA, NVGA was one of my favorite manufacturers, and so I found a really good deal used for him. Although it took a generation back from the AMD card he was using, it was still a better card overall. And he has been using that now for quite some time, but he's lately been having some issues. Issues mostly being that of stuttering, frame time hanging, as well as just some drops in his overall FPS. And so, kind of doing some troubleshooting long distance, we come to find out that one of his RAM modules was not actually seated properly in the system. And then after coming to that conclusion and seating it properly, he was now back in dual channel mode, and it did help greatly a lot of the problems that he was having. However, he still had an interest in trying to do upgrades and making some suggestions and trying to do different things. I told him, perhaps you should just wait. Maybe it's a good idea just to hang on for just a little bit longer. The last thing we talked about was upgrading his graphics card to yet another step up from the GTX 1080 that he currently has. And although it's over a 6-year-old GPU, it still runs very well. I just wanted to get him something a little bit better. And right now, NVIDIA cards are really kind of in a weird spot, and they're very expensive and overpriced for a lot of what you get. And I was really trying to find him something in the 3000 series, but I stumbled across some really good deals on the RTX 2000 series. I was able to find him a RTX 2080 Ti, which is here in front of me. It is the Turbo Edition, and it is a blower style fan, but the card is still quite capable, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I got that for him, and that's something that he is ready to pay for and do the upgrade. The other thing that we also went ahead and was planning to do was get him a new power supply that could easily handle his system plus the RTX 2080 Ti. It does have a higher power requirement than the GTX 1080 for the Win 2 edition, which he currently has. So I went ahead and found this deal. I told him I had this power supply, and he could buy that off me if he wanted to. So he is purchasing both the graphics card and the power supply. And as far as he knows, that's all he's getting. But what he does not know is that my friend Luke and I have sort of collaborated a little bit together, and with a couple of parts that we've tried to make his gameplay better with anything else that he plans to do with the computer. And we were able to secure a better motherboard, a better CPU, and some other components that will just help enrich or enhance the overall computer. I know for a fact that it probably needs to be cleaned. And I probably can guess that the fans that came with the original Cougar case are probably not of the greatest quality. So we bought some new Antec fans to go for the case, as well as a new heat-sinking fan to actually cool down his CPU, which is going to be more than adequate. So to start things off, I told him I had a CPU for him to upgrade his Ryzen 5 2600, which is still a very good CPU, but limited on CPU frequency, and with the generation improvements over 3000 and then 5000 series, I told him I had an extra Ryzen 5 3600X on hand, which I do. However, my friend Luke just recently upgraded his CPU to a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D and no longer needed his Ryzen 5 5600X. Now the 5600X is going to be a good improvement over the 3600X, which is going to be a big improvement over the 2600 that he currently has in his system. So I'm very happy that we're going to be able to surprise him with a 5600X and put that into his system. The next thing we have is the Gigabyte B450 EOS M motherboard. He currently has a very budget Gigabyte. I think it's the something D3H. It's very budget. It has no really, I don't think, cooling on the VRMs. Not really high end. He mentioned a couple times maybe trying to get something like a Ryzen 7 or Ryzen 9, and I told him, not a good idea. Don't do that. So I wanted to get him something that was a little bit better, and this was actually a motherboard that I had in my possession that kind of was going through and was going to be used for a build and then not used and then kind of pulled back, and I was going to try and do something with it, but I'm going to give this motherboard to him, do a swap out. It's not a major upgrade, but it is probably much more reliable, at least I feel, in a system that would be housing something a little bit more high-end. But for now, the Ryzen 5 5600X is going to be not very hard to drive anyways. He also does not know about the motherboard upgrade, so hopefully that'll be a nice little bonus. And then to cool the Ryzen 5 5600X, I've got the VTrue V5. This is a great CPU cooler. I've used this now a few times. It is a great runner-up to the Deepcool, I think it's the A420, which I also like, that is currently running in my Plex server. But this is a great CPU cooler for the money, and in fact, I had another one which I used a different fan with, and I actually am able to use this fan from the other VTrue 5 to give him 2 fans. Also has some RGB in there. We also bought him some new memory. Now he did upgrade his own memory about 6 months or so ago to some, I think, Geal 32 gigabyte DDR4 3600 speed memory, which is not running at the right speeds, I know for a fact. And he's been having trouble trying to get the XMP or /AMP profile enabled. So I went ahead and was able to secure something a little bit better even than the memory that he currently has. The timings are just a little bit better. This is DDR4 3600 speed at 16 latency. This is Mushkin Redline, and I've used Mushkin for years. They still make pretty good memory modules, and so that'll also be just another slight little bump, hopefully not slowing him down. Overall is the main goal there. And then lastly, we have some new case fans, because his case is probably in need of a deep cleaning, as well as probably those fans are not in the best of life situation. So these are some great fans. This is the Antec case fans that come in a package of 5, and they're really great. I've used them in several different builds, and great 120 millimeter fans. We're going to replace a few of those in his case just to get the airflow better. After we clean everything out, should do well. And pretty much getting a whole brand new computer. He is keeping his M.2 solid state drive as well as his 2.5-inch drive that he uses for his games, but everything else should be pretty much brand new. And last but not least, we have the graphics card, and this of course is the Asus Turbo RTX 2080 Ti. This is the blower style version of the card, and I know I've read a lot of reviews or watched a lot of videos about the blower style version of the RTX 2080 Ti and it being sort of subpar or on average. But to be quite honest, this card is quite fine. I did re-thermal paste it for him. We did a Thermal Grizzly Hydronaut on there, which has got a pretty good cooling performance. and made sure the thermal pads are in optimal shape. I ran some testing, even did some overclocking, and it does get up into the 80s on the hotspot when pushed with full power usage and overclocking. However, I don't know if he'll actually need to do that, but definitely running a fan profile will help keep it cooler. Didn't have any issues. He's running a 1080p 144 hertz panel, so this should be more than enough that he needs to be able to push 1920 by 1080 pixels, and I think combined with the 5600X he should be doing very well compared to his current GTX 1080 and his Ryzen 5 2600. So the first thing I'll be doing is putting everything together that evening when we arrived, so we can enjoy a weekend of some leisure time, fun, and perhaps games, and bring you guys along for the ride. I think I'm ready. I'm ready for a trip. You ready for a trip? I'm ready for a trip. We should go. Let's go. Yeah. Okay, it is about 5 in the morning, and I am about to go on my way and pick up Luke. Got the car all packed. We are ready to go, and it is pretty dark this morning. I'm not a morning person, but if I was, I think that this is the kind of mornings that I would thoroughly enjoy. So it's very nice and chill. It's cool. A nice fall day in New England, Connecticut. Very nice. So let's go pick up Luke. But first, coffee. Wow.
Hi, can I help you?
Yes. Could I get a medium hot nutty pumpkin with 1 cream?
Okay.
And a turbo shot. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much. All right, now to get Luke. Luke. Here he comes. Ready to go. All right, we have arrived. We're pretty tired, and 14 and a half hours later. So we're gonna get inside. He's waiting for us at the garage right now, and we're gonna try and surprise him with what we've got. So we'll see what happens. All right, so we got here. He was already waiting for us in the garage. So we're gonna go ahead and bring in the parts, and then we're gonna show him what we got. So remember, all he knows is that he got a graphics card and a power supply. He's probably gonna be like, "That's great, guys. Thanks." Better leave my headset out of it, or isn't it easy to get another headset? All right, here's the stuff.
All right, computer room's here.
Computer room's here.
Oh, we'll get inside. Food, yeah, food in there.
No needs. Oh yeah. Wow, this is great. Oh, funny, from the pictures it looks like it's on the other side. All right, so here's the deal. We have more than just a graphics card and a CPU and a power supply.
Okay.
So that's what's different. So
It's a whole new
we
computer.
actually have, yes, everything's new except for your case. So
Okay.
we have the graphics card, which obviously we got. I found the deal on, so that's the same. Got the power supply for you. So the RTX 2080 Ti, the 850. We got you a new motherboard, so it's still the same B450 generation, but it's a nicer one. So your motherboard won't melt when we're trying to use it. And then the 3600X that I said I had, I have it, but instead we're giving you the 5600X, which is even
wow.
better.
Okay.
So your
Better
frame rate
good.
should go up
Okay, nice.
a lot. Or I just buy a whole new computer. We also got you a heatsink and fan for your CPU. We got you new case fans.
All right. Yeah.
So they'll all be
Those.
redone. We also got you new memory, even though you have 32 gigs. This is a little bit faster memory, so I got you new memory as well.
Wow. That's awesome.
So
Thank you.
when we're done, in just about an hour and a half to 2 hours,
All right.
you'll be in a good experience. So
All right.
very good.
Awesome.
I think he's happy.
Yes, that's real good.
All right, first, let's eat. All right, this is the current setup right now, and you can see his case is a little dirty, so we're gonna clean all that out. He currently doesn't have, I think a front fan is currently working, and he has a back fan, but he's using some splitters, and everything's a little dirty. He's using a stock heatsink and fan. So we're gonna clean all this stuff up here and redo the insides with all the parts that we brought. And then, pretty decent. He's got the two 1080p monitors set up and a nice adjustable desk. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera onto a tripod, and then we're gonna go ahead and get everything kind of working, maybe do like a time lapse of everything. I have to clean the computer, I gotta take it apart, I gotta put all the parts in it, and then I gotta install Windows and then all of his games, get it up and running, hopefully by tonight. So it is currently about 8:46, so hopefully we have some time, and then maybe be able to use the computer plus hours over the weekend for some leisure time, entertainment, and maybe, I guess, a LAN party, and then travel home on Sunday. So not very long, but hopefully we'll get going here and get him all set up. Here we go. And fun was had by all. What a wonderful time we had down in South Carolina with our friend John for just a couple of days. The trip, I would say, was a success. And he's very happy with the computer that we built and put together for him. Solved a lot of his issues that he was having before, and now he's able to play a few games at a very high refresh rate with very little lag, and it's pretty nice. He was pretty excited, and we got to spend some time playing a few games, spending a great time fellowshipping, and when we left, he said it was probably the most fun he's had in quite some time. So I would consider the trip to be a great success. And since our return, he's actually upgraded one more component, and that is his monitor. He had a 24-inch Pixio panel, which he got at a great deal, and I've seen those often on Amazon for a great price, and they're excellent for an entry-level budget gaming monitor. But he was wanting something more, and so he got the Asus 27-inch 1080p 165 Hz 1 millisecond IPS panel, and he is very happy with that. And he's getting really great frame rates, definitely increased probably from about 20 to maybe 40% frame rate increase in some of the games that he plays, which he's very happy about. Hope you enjoyed coming along with us for the ride. I know I didn't get quite as much footage of the actual activities and fun that we did participate in, but that was it. We were having so much fun, I forgot to pick up a camera to actually record some things for everyone else. But it was a great trip and we had a great time. For now, stay tuned. I do have a new video coming with a new PC build on its way. I'm very excited. It's going to involve this guy right here, and so you'll have to continue and watch the next video in order to find out what that's all about. But until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video. On the road again.
Well,
Not
hopefully soon.
Take out the sign. Oh.
There we go. Now we're
Oh
on
no.
the road.
Oh,
We're
oh,
going
oh,
off the road.
oh,
Yeah, we're back
oh
on
no,
the
it
road.
was
Now-
swerving.
Okay.
Too hard to get compensated.
Isn't it? I told you that's what I was doing. I was having trouble.
I'm getting car sick watching.
All right, he's in third gear.
What are you doing, you idiot?
What a great time we had down in South Carolina, spending a few